Hello, guys. I'm Goku, and uh, I'm gonna. So I'm one of the founding stewards of Biohacker DAO, and I'm also founder of Colonists. It's like a Settlers of Catan game online, and I'm gonna explain how to be in the top 99% of HRVs, and I'm gonna explain why, how, and what to do about this to achieve this. And starting with why. So why HRV? When like I have the question, like if you had the metric, like if you had to pick a single metric to pick the healthiest person on the planet, what metric would that be? Because like Brian Johnson is going for that title and he's trying for that, and he's giving like 50 biomarkers, and I want to see the answer to this question. And when I looked, like I asked my medical advisor about this, like my completely trusted medical advisor, and she says heart rate variability. So I trust completely, fully, without questioning. But so and so ChatGPT says it reflects the balance between stress and recovery, indicates cardiovascular health, nervous system balance, overall resilience, and strongly correlates with physical, mental health, emotional health, all that stuff. In addition to this, I've noticed that like my discipline is higher if I have higher HRV. My discipline is lower if I have lower HRV. And I'm just like I just feel like I could handle more obstacles if I have higher HRV compared to having lower. So if there's like a door in front of me, if I have higher HRV, I know I can just walk through it. And if there's a door and I have low HRV, I'm just going to be like, yeah, I should just sit down and rest. Don't do anything too rash, because your body knows that and signals that I'm not healthy enough to try something that's daring. And so how to track HRV? I want to ask who here uses one of these devices. So these are Garmin, Aura, Apple Watch, and Whoop. I want to see who's using one of these devices. Tom? Arya, what do you have?
Yeah, I think.
Don't worry. Yeah, I'm sorry for the gesture, but yeah, here it is. All right, yeah. John?
Yeah, same here.
I actually use a Fitbit.
Fitbit. Does it give HRV value?
Yes,
Okay,
but
good.
I am not a fan of HRV being measured on the night with a fitness tracker. To measure HRV separately, I do record the HRV from the Fitbit. I use the Polar H10 ECG together with the Elite software.
Yeah. And do you measure that in the morning when you wake up?
Yes.
That's definitely the better way to track it. But if you're looking for overall trends and overall feedback on our habits, usually measuring during the night is good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. It usually has enough variance between days and actions to give meaningful results. That's been in my case. What about Jason, Paula? Do you guys have variables tracking HRV?
I don't really use wearables at the moment. While I had Samsung, it was much better on like biometric data than an iPhone, but I don't have a wearable.
You should get one then.
Yeah.
Sure, this group.
Sponsor me, guys.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to make some comments about HRV at some stage. It might be better done at the end of your presentation.
Sure. All right. Moving on. And okay, so I want to ask like the people who are tracking, what's our HRV? So this is going to require a bit camera and participation from you guys. So anyone who can you guys check your last night HRV? in your applications tracker, whatever you're using. And then anyone who knows their HRV can raise their hands on the camera. Okay, we got 4. Mikael, you know yours. Okay, let's keep our hands up. And if you're low 30 or lower HRV, put your hands down. So I'm guessing you guys are probably tired if you're lower than 30. Everyone's still. Arya, is it lower than 30?
Pretty low.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you're.
I'm not checking it.
Yeah. If you're lower than 60, put your hands down. All right. Raven got eliminated. So John, congrats. You have higher HRV than the most healthiest person on the planet, Brian Johnson. Did you know that? Brian Johnson's HRV is around low 60s, and he started at 30s. And so, John, what's your HRV the last yesterday? You're muted.
My HRV varies a lot, and I'm going through a particular process at the moment. My HRV is normally above the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is the one from Polar, not the Fitbit one. I can do the Fitbit one as well. Let me see if I can get the Fitbit one up. But here we are. That's the Polar one. So going from, I think, let's have a look. It's difficult because it's not really well presented. I've got 70, then 55, then 63, then 64, then 62.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry?
That sounds about right. So I'm gonna go into like the averages. What should our HRV be? So going from that data, actually, so this is elite HRV users, and the average is around like 60. And so if you're lower than 30, you're at this end, and if you're higher, it's at this end. And this is actually like Brian Johnson started around 30 and increased his HRV to 60, so to an average number. And so what is my HRV? Yesterday, it's like 133 HRV, and that's like an okay day for me. But my resting heart rate is 40, which is this is while sleeping, of course, and this is like a good rate actually. Anything between 38 to 42 resting heart rate is good for me, and this HRV is like in an okay part. And with these stats, I would be somewhere around here, which is like 4 standard deviations away from like the average. And so I want to share like what are the top 5 things that reduce HRV. And so I did see 10s. Also, I did see 30s. I did see 60s. I saw all the spectrum. So it's not like I'm all the way every day here at 130. It changes, but my average during like last month is over 110. And I like to keep my average high, but if I do some stuff, I know it will tank down. And you guys have the question of like, how do I increase my HRV? And I think that is the wrong question. I'm focused on increasing my HRV, but you guys need to ask the question of what is reducing my HRV, because there are stuff that are, if you have poison in your body, or if you have stuff that is causing you stress, that is reducing your HRV, you need to get rid of that first, and that would have a significantly higher effect on your HRV than trying to raise it. Anything that tries to raise it specifically does very little to help. So the big, I'm gonna just tell the big rocks, and I'm gonna give you guys 5 things that reduce HRV. So the first thing is injuries and illness. This is like when you're like, when you got food poisoning, when you're sick, when you got a fever, when you have like do sports, you tore a muscle, a tendon, you did like a new sport and you got injured. This drastically reduces your HRV. So like the tip here is don't get injured or ill. Pretty straightforward. And I've seen like my HRV can tank down from hundreds plus down to 30s with a single solid injury or illness. So we want to stay healthy completely. So aside from that, the second is vegetable oils, and this is like a very, so when you're injured, your HRV is down until your injury is healed. So that might take 2 days, that might take a week, it might slowly go back up. But when you consume vegetable oils, I found that my HRV tanks for a long time and stays there. So it's normally when I eat something bad, my HRV tanks the next day and recovers the day after if I remove it. Vegetable oils are not like that. If I have one random burger that's like just a patty that's just touched vegetable oils while it was being cooked, my HRV tanks for like 1 to 2 weeks. So I could go from like 120s down to 30s easily the next day, and then it stays there. Well, it stays low for 2 weeks, and after like 2 or 3 days, it starts to recover. So even if I have like a perfect I have like a perfect situation. I'm keeping everything in track. Everything's dialed in. And I have one meal that is touching vegetable oils. And I still continue to have perfect life. That vegetable oil is tanking my HRV for a long time. And I can see, I'm just like patiently waiting. When is it going to recover? When am I going to recover? So I completely avoid these. It's like poison, and I can like reproducibly measure and see the effects of vegetable oils. The third thing is North America. That should be reduced from the diet as well. And I want to like explain with like a story. So the same banana that is produced in Costa Rica, when it's shipped to Europe versus when it's shipped to North America, has different effects on you because of and I've only had one thing change, just a banana. Everything else is same in the diet, and the European banana does not reduce my HRV, and the North American one does. I'm like, why is this happening? When I research, it's like they're using some pesticides that are not good for health, and a lot of North America doesn't have regulations against some of the pesticides that are very dangerous for health, while Europe does have it. And an example of like why a place you live can affect your HRV very drastically is for example, I'm in North America and I'm completely dialed with my diet, and all my habits are perfect, and I go outside to eat, and I want to eat some protein, and I'm gonna go to like a fast food and get some burger patties. So I'm not even getting the bread, I'm not getting the vegetables, I'm not getting anything else, no fries, and I just want the burger patty. So you can order that in fast food restaurants. And I want to find a restaurant that is cooking on the grill without vegetable oils, because I know vegetable oils will be having a negative effect on me. What I find is I find something, I research, I found something from online. Then I ask them, do you guys use oil? They say, no, we don't. I eat it, and then my HRV tanks. They have some additives, or they used oil, or didn't know, or well, it was used in the preparation. There was something going on. And it goes down from 120s to 40 or something. And this happened multiple times in North America. I'm trying to be perfect. I'm doing all the research. I'm doing everything I can. And then some random, like a patty that should be the safest thing to eat, tanks my HRV. Meanwhile, in Europe and in Turkey, I did an experiment. I'm going to go, of course, I'm not going to go for ultra processed foods, but I'm going to go eat anything in the restaurants and just let myself go. Whatever I see on the street, I'm going to buy and see what happens. And in Europe, my HRV went down from 130s to 90 hundreds. And in Turkey, it went down to 60s, 70s. In North America, if I'm strict, it goes down to 30s. So this is the difference. If you're chill on Europe and Turkey, you have high HRV. And in North America, you're completely dialed in, you're going to have low HRV. You just have to not consume anything outside, basically. The fourth thing is intolerant food groups. So until now, I gave some generic stuff that is applicable to everyone, but intolerant food groups are very personal, and it takes a lot of efforts and time to find these. So, for example, in my case, I'm very intolerant to I'm intolerant to a lot of stuff, but the highest intolerances are against cow dairy and eggs. So if I have anything that is touching eggs or cow dairy, I'm going to have a reduction of HRV, a significant reduction. It's not going to be as bad as injuries, vegetable oils, or North America, but it's going to be huge. And how interesting this is I'm not intolerant to sheep or goat milk or dairy products. So specifically cow dairy products. So there's also some other stuff. For example, some types of mangoes, I figured, and I didn't test this in a blood test. The egg and dairy intolerance, it's verified by a blood test, but the mangoes, I couldn't test like 15 different mangoes in a blood test. Those don't exist. But because I'm doing it like an elimination diet and trying one food at a time, I can see a certain type of mango is I'm gonna be a bit intolerant. I'm gonna have a bit reaction, and other type of mango, I'm not gonna have that. Same with honey. I have many types of honey, and nothing happens. There's a specific type of honey. It's called wildflower honey. When I have that, my HRV goes down, and I start having rashes around my neck. So this is very specific. Everyone has problems. There are tests for this. A lot of them are not legit. But like the legit one I found, my dad had yeast intolerance. So that's completely different than what I have. So it's a journey to find these, but you cannot get to high HRV if you don't find these. And some people are lucky, I think. They have no intolerances to anything or intolerances to something that they don't like. So there's some luck factor here, but most people are intolerant to something, and you need to figure that out. And another thing is carbon dioxide. So especially when sleeping or when working, I have a device, RNet, and I track my what's the carbon dioxide level in the room I'm in. While I'm sleeping, I've noticed if the carbon dioxide is high, my HRV is low. If I have my windows open and I'm getting oxygen, my HRV is higher. This is consistent over multiple tries. And right now, while I'm sleeping, if I know the carbon dioxide is going to increase in my room, it depends on the ventilation, it depends on the room, the house, everything. Sometimes you don't have to open the windows at all, and the oxygen levels are high. Sometimes you have to air out the place. So that's a big effect as well. So those are the top 5 things that reduce my HRV. Here's like some of my links, and I can get questions on whatever you guys are curious about at the moment.
Thank you so much for that, Goku. I actually was wondering, do you think there is any correlation between meditation or like breath work and
Medication and breath work.
meditation or breath work, like either of those, and then
Meditation,
which
yes.
would be like more efficient in terms of like bringing your HRV higher faster?
So meditation and breath work, I would say breath work would definitely be higher compared to meditation. So breath work is actually you're getting more oxygen. Oxygen is good. When you're getting oxygen, your body is less stressed, and every metabolic function in your body works better if you do breath work. So that's gonna definitely increase your HRV better than meditation. I think meditation has its benefits too, but saying that these are the 5 big rocks, and I would say meditation and breath work would be little pebbles. So if you get these right, you don't have to worry about those at all. And if you worry about those and not do these, you're not gonna get much progress.
Got it. Another question I had for you was, let's say, like, what are the spectrum of things that we can track by just tracking our HRV? Like, what are the secondary health factors that we can like gauge based on our HRV?
Can you clarify that? Like
So let's say,
metrics that are related to HRV or like symptoms or?
so if we use HRV as like the metric, what are the other things that we can associate with it? Let's say like, okay, a high HRV means like better stress management, a better immune function. So things like that can be put in that list. That is directly correlated to a higher HRV.
So like the initial answer like ChatGPT give, like everything here, it reflects like balance between stress and recovery, right? So one thing is like people think like exercise, like going to the gym and stuff, is putting too much stress on the body. I don't think it's doing much. Like it's not significant stress compared to everything else. Like exercise is maybe dropping HRV 5 points or something, and but if you do any of the stuff I told, it's going to have a massive increase. And so this is like stress versus recovery. So like if your body is recovered, for example, for me, I know before I was paying attention to my health, my diet and stuff, I would still go to the gym, I will still lift weights, I wouldn't get much progress, and I would be tired, I would be dead after it. Like I don't want to see another barbell for like a week is what I would feel like. These days when I have high HRV, I'm like completely healthy. Like my body recovers so fast. I go, I lift, I do whatever, and next day I'm like, okay, I can go again. Like I don't need to recover whatever they say 72 hours for muscle to recover. I'm already recovered, and I can just like go for it. And I've seen this example given in marathon runners as well. Marathon is running. A marathon is very stressful on the body, and it takes a long time to recover. And people recommend, like, I think you should do maximum once per month. And there's these like people who are like on a fasting diet. So when you're fasting, because you're not really ingesting any poisons, your HRV is probably high, and your body's ability to recover is as high as it could be. And there's like people who do fasted marathons back to back in a day, like 5 marathons back to back while fasted, and that is only possible if your body is able to recover super fast. If you have like a 20 HRV, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to be like, after a marathon, you're going to be done for 2 weeks. You don't want to see another. You don't want to run again for a long time. So I hope that answers your question.
Is it safe to say that like you can improve your focus if your HRV is higher?
Definitely, you can improve your focus, and you can improve your like your tendency, like like you have this feeling where like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm too tired to do that. You're just putting it off, procrastinating. It improves that as well. But what I found is focus is not only related to HRV. It does help, but also like a dopamine detox would probably increase focus much better than HRV. So we still programmed our brains with like giving quick dopamine and a lot of rewards. So I think that would be a bigger it would have bigger effect on focus than HRV would.
Maybe we should do another mastermind session about dopamine detox. That would be cool.
Yeah, I'm not knowledgeable enough about that yet. I would love to hear people's experiences in that, but it's something I'm exploring at the moment.
Cool. Okay, nighttime erections and HRV. Is there any relationship?
There is no relationship that I've seen. Okay. Well, so there, if it's lower, I think it's less. Like I feel like it's less because your body is a bit sick. But if you're higher, you're not getting more nighttime erections, and nighttime erections is, I think, the thing that affects most in my case is having like a caloric surplus diet with good healthy foods and fats and carbs, having a lot of carbs. Those are more correlated than HRV. Because an example is when I'm fasting for multiple days, my HRV is very high, but I'm not getting nighttime erections. My body's like, hey, you're starving. You're not going to reproduce now. It's no time to bring a baby to this world.
Makes sense. I think John wanted to ask something earlier. Is he still with us?
Yes. He had some comments and questions. Yeah. John, are you still there? You're muted and your camera is off if you're, yeah.
Mute on right there. I think I'm there now. All right. Now, I just thought I'd just like to make a couple of comments.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Obviously, one thing that affects HRV is the balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic activation in the autonomous nervous system. And there obviously are quite a lot of other things that affect it. However, although I would accept it's a good metric of the cardiovascular system status, mm-hmm. Taking into account this question of balance between parasympathetic and sympathetic state, it's not a proxy for biological age. The fact is that as people get older, their HRV gets lower, which is worse. Yes, I accept lower as a general principle is worse. Although one needs to be aware that if you've got your autonomous nervous system activated, say, and an HRV of say 60, mm-hmm. that's probably better than being in the parasympathetic state in 65. So even though the metric, the HRV, is higher, because the switch between parasympathetic and sympathetic state drives it, your underlying system is probably better with the lower value. So it's a useful thing, and it's useful. I track it, but it's not a proxy for biological age at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a metric for the state of your cardiovascular system.
I agree with that. It's kind of like like let's say doing deadlifts in the gym is not a good proxy for age, because I know there's like some 60-year-olds that are doing twice my weight.
Yeah.
And I'm getting better over time, but also I'm getting worse as I age, because my muscles and strength lowers over time. So it's kind of like that. It's not a good proxy for age, but I think it's a good proxy. It's definitely a good proxy for overall health, and
I'm not even sure that's entirely true. I think it's a good proxy for cardiovascular health.
I don't think that's true as well, because I don't really do cardio. So
but your heart system and everything. I don't. But it does. It doesn't really get us anywhere. I have obviously. I don't know if I've explained it to the people what my view is as to what biological aging actually is, linked to mitochondrial DNA damage. Have we gone through that? I think we have.
Yeah, but I'm not like HRV. I'm not really kind of talking about biological age here.
No, it's a good health measure, without any question. But one needs to be sensitive to the value and also the variation between systems of measurement. So if you measure it using an ECG, then you're doing quite well. If you start using a tracker, it can be subject to all sorts of measurement errors.
Yes.
That's a thing. But yes, it's good. I record it both from my tracker and also from Polar every day, and that's a nuisance because I have to put the ECG on.
Yeah.
To do it, so I wouldn't put it on and measure it. And obviously, I'm sitting there for 2.5 minutes whilst it measures it as well, or lying there. So that's 2.5 minutes every day that I'm using. I do other things because I'm recording things in my phone, but I'm using it to record HRV. But we do need to be careful not to live or die by the HRV value.
I think this is like a blood glucose at current moment versus HbA1c results. So there one is like a short-term result and one is a long-term result. And I think this is HRV is not. Of course, long-term trends do matter, and you want to keep those high. But the main benefits of HRV is looking at the actions you're doing day to day, and it's give you instant feedback.
I agree with you about that. It definitely tells me when I've been drunk.
Yes, it would.
I know I may be relatively unusual in the biohacking community for being somebody who's a heavy drinker as well.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't know whether they're actually heavy drinkers.
I don't know.
But the thing is, well, you see, it's also the biohacking of alcohol, which is another thing as to how to ensure your body processes it most effectively. Yes. It's a good tool, but it's not the tool. It's not the ring for all rings, if you know the reference.
Yes. Yeah.
The ring to govern all rings, the sort of biohacker to govern all biohackers. Biomeasures, right? Biomarkers. I'm going to have to go soon anyway, but thank you for your presentation, then.
You're welcome.
All right. It's an interesting value. I like measuring it.
All right. Any other questions, guys? If not, we could just end here.
Thank you, Goku. Actually, a few people couldn't join today because of the request thing. So they DM
Yeah.
me, but I think because I'm not admin, I can't let them in.
Yeah, I
But
think Mikhail is recording, so
yeah,
you could share, and I could answer whatever questions they have in the Telegram then.
sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, then, guys, take care.
Make a video of your presentation in Vitalia.
Okay, yeah, I think they will, yeah,
That would be
they will
fantastic.
take it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.